good it is to be here in your presence. Brothers and sisters, I invite you to please be seated. So thank you all for coming to be here this evening. Welcome all of you who are here in person, but also everybody out there who's joining us at the college retreat, and also others who are watching this virtually online. So good to be here with you. Again, just to introduce myself in case somebody wasn't here over the weekend, Father Malachy, member of the Franciscan Friars of the Renewal. And we'll be here 3 nights together, each night with a different theme, each night a new opportunity to encounter the heart of God, encounter the heart of Christ in a new way. And so we begin in front of this heart that comes to us in the most humble, simple, hidden way. And we're gonna jump into the mystery of that presence of God in our midst. But as a friar, as a Franciscan friar, we have the opportunity to travel a fair amount, and particularly to evangelize and go different places and talk with people from different walks of life about the love of God, about Jesus, about the church, about the gospel, the good news. And a few years ago, I had the opportunity to go and do some evangelizing at this music festival, cultural festival in a city in Belgium. It's called Ghent. And so Ghent Fest was this event that was going on, like 10,000 people at this event in this city. And while we were there, we set up an operation in one of the churches there that was near the center of town. And basically what would happen is we have music inside, not so different from this. And outside, we were inviting people to come in who were just coming to the festival, minding their own business, walking down the street. And there were some religious sisters, missionaries of charity, that were there helping us. And so we're out there, we're just saying, hey, would you like to take a candle and come in and say a prayer? And so we were doing this, and some people would just go cruising right by, ignore that you exist. Others would kind of be like, no, thank you. And then others would come in. But there was one sister, Sister Pushpa was her name, and she was like a fireball and basically had absolutely no timidity whatsoever. And so she would literally go out and she'd like jump in front of bikes and like stop people. She would go up to groups of young guys and she'd start talking to them. And we started working out a deal where basically she would be the one that stopped them and detained them, and then I was the one that kind of brought them in for processing, you know? So she was out there getting people to come, and I would take them and walk them into the church. And there was probably a good, 50 yards between the street and the actual entrance to the church. And so there was a group of guys she stopped, and all of them were, they already had their first or third beers of the night in their hands, walking into the party. And she starts talking to them, invites them to come in, and sends them my way. And so these guys are walking towards me, kind of like, yeah, how can you say no to a nun, And they're going towards the church. And I asked them as we're walking, I was like, hey guys, is there anything, we're going to go inside, Jesus is there. Is there anything that, is on your heart or something that you would just like to ask God for? Might be somebody you want to pray for. You're going to get candles, and I explain the whole thing and light them and place them before the altar. And it's a real opportunity to pray and pray for, whatever it is that you want to ask God. And so one of the guys just mentioned, yeah, my grandfather, he's sick, so maybe I'll pray for him. I was like, that's good, let's do that. And as we got closer to the door, I could see a few of the guys getting a little bit nervous, and we stopped right before, and they've all still got their beers in their hands. So I was like a moment where I was like, okay, a little catechesis education here. I was like, hey guys, I promise you the beers will be safe, but can you just leave them outside? We're going to go inside now. And they're like, oh yeah, sure, not a problem. And then one of the guys looks at me and he's like, are we going in? I was like, yeah, we're going in. He's like, okay. And he just shoots the whole thing. Hands me the empty cup. He's like, I'm ready. Okay, we can do this. I can go into a church. And we go walking through, and we get inside, and we go up to the front, and it's a beautiful, this is a Baroque era church, absolutely stunningly gorgeous inside. And they go to the front, and each of them walks up, and we put down a candle, they pray. And then we're walking back, and a couple of them stayed. Others just put the candle and that's as close as I'm getting. I'm out of here. But we got to the back of the church, and we're outside, and they're fixing to leave. And so I just said, hey, I know one of you guys here, you said your grandfather's sick. What if we say a prayer for him right now, if you're open to that? And they're like, okay. I was like, well, let's step off to the side. So we go off to the side, and as we're walking over, they're like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean, what am I doing? Why are you dressed like this? What are you doing here in Ghent, Belgium, because I told him I was an American. Anyhow, so I just shared a little bit of my testimony, the grace that God gave me in my life. I'm sorry, I want to put this on. I'm just going to put this on me. This is better, more better. Interruption.
People online can't hear you.
People online can't hear me. Sorry, people online. Can you hear me now? Hello again. I greeted you earlier. You didn't hear me, but I included you. Trust me. And we're in Belgium right now, so jump on. The train's moving. So we're there standing outside of the church, and these guys are asking me, what am I all about? Where did I come from? How did I end up here? And so I shared the grace of my conversion, the call to the priesthood, and the Lord freeing me from just a life of being lost in the world. And I'll share more about that tomorrow. But at the end of it, the guys are like, whoa. I was like, that's kind of crazy. And I'm like, yeah, it is kind of crazy. I was like, but the crazier thing about it is that the love of God that I have experienced is what he wants for you. And they're like, really? And I was like, yeah. I was like, let me tell you a little story. I was like, have you ever heard about the prodigal son? And they're like, the what? Like prodigal son. I was like, yeah, there's a story. So I start telling them the story of the prodigal son from Luke's gospel, right? The son who says, give me my inheritance. He goes, squanders everything, living a life of debauchery, and then comes back repentant and saying, I'm not even worthy to be a son anymore. I'll just be a servant in my father's house. And when he comes back, the embrace that he receives from the father and the response is completely overwhelming and surprising, because there's no mention of the past. There's just the love of the father that overwhelms him. And as I was sharing this story, in the middle of it, one of the guys is like, yeah, I've heard that before somewhere. I've heard that, and these are all kids probably, I don't know, they're like in their late teens, early 20s. And I'm like, well, that's great. I was like, yeah. I was like, have you ever been to church? I was like, yeah, I went a couple times with my grandma. I was like, that's awesome. And then all of a sudden, one of the other guys on the other side of this circle of guys, which is at this point, there's like 6 or 8 of them and me, he just like blurts out, he's like, I don't know that story. I want to know that story. And it just like hit me. It hit me because it was the cry of the world, the cry of a secular society, the cry of people who do not know the good news of the love of God, that are suffering from the absence of this presence. And it's a hunger that's in the heart that's already there. They want to know the story. I want to know the story. You want to know the story. The story about a good and loving father who comes running after his children no matter what they may do. And brothers and sisters, why do we want this? Why are our hearts looking for it? Well, it's plain and simple. God is real. And I know I'm in a church, and I can presume that probably most of you are like, okay, great. But no, God is in reality. He's in your reality. God is real. He's the foundation of all that is real. And our hearts are made for him. And no matter what the world may try and fill those hearts with, no matter what we may do trying to seek satisfaction, just like the patron of this parish said, our hearts are restless until they rest in him and his heart. And that's because we're made for him, made in love. There's a story, brothers and sisters, that you and I are a part of. You are known by your good and gracious Father. I had the joy of being down in the Keys last week for a couple of days. Some friends, Assis and Michelle, brought me down there. It was amazing. And the thing I love about it is I'm not from this part of the country. I'm from Georgia. You take me into the woods or the mountains of Georgia, and I'll point out everything there and let you know what it is. But when I come down here, everything's new, and it's like, whoa, look at that fish. It's like, man, look at that lizard. And you're just like, there's a stingray, crazy, And I'm just like overwhelmed. It's amazing, right? And you look around at creation, and you begin to kind of get the sense that, man, this isn't just an accident. This isn't the work of simply a mind organizing all of material reality. This is the work of a heart. The heart of a loving father who wanted to give the best to his children. And the beauty of creation is speaking, is sort of pulsating with this fact that the love of God is built into reality and is the foundation of it, and we're part of it.
And because we're part of it, we long to know the story. But brothers and sisters, there's a lot of us who have forgotten it, have never heard it, have been distracted by other narratives that want to be spoken over our lives. And because of this, this good Father has never stopped coming to speak the word again, to show us what his heart is like again. You know, in the Old Testament, right, this fiery love that's in the Trinity shows up. When God's people are walking in slavery in Egypt, he sends that fire in the form of a bush that's burning but not consumed. And he calls Moses to go and bring the good news that their God has not forgotten them. And brothers and sisters, it's a good news for you and I today that God has not forgotten you. God has not forgotten us. And maybe we're walking in a moment, in a place in history where it seems like there is a lot of turmoil. It seems like things are maybe out of our control. And we're walking in a desert, and what does God do? Look back. His people had to walk through the desert for 40 years, and for 40 years, he sent a pillar of fire before them to lead them home to the promised land. And here's the truth. Here's the beauty. Here's the wonder. The pillar of fire is here on the altar. The pillar of fire, the burning bush, the just absolute, overwhelming, creative love that's at the heart of all of reality is here on this altar in the Eucharist, because it is the heart of God made flesh, the very heart of Jesus, coming again to tell you, you're not alone. You may be walking in a desert, but guess what? I'm walking with you. I'm walking before you. I'm showing you the way home to the Father's house. Brothers and sisters, this is the heart of God. This is the story that we're being invited to step into, and it's like, really? Like, really, Lord? I'm telling you, sometimes I wake up and I'm just absolutely blown away by the goodness of how much his love is just like everywhere. And there's other times where I wake up and I wonder, where are you, God? Are you really with me now? And here's the thing for me, it's like, if this is good news that is only good news when things are going well, then it's not good news at all. If Jesus is only real and God is only real when things are going well, then he's not God at all. And this is really the test. This is the place where we meet this challenge of our own experience. And it's like, is he so real to be in the midst of suffering? Is he so real as to be present in death? Is he so real as to be present in the midst of family turmoil, divorce, loss of loved ones, loss of children, racial tension, political unrest, wearing masks because of COVID? Could he be there? Could this heart be there? Because if he's not, then he's not real. I'm wasting my time and your time here tonight. And that's just a fact. You know, and I remember I had the blessing a few years ago to go to the Holy Land. And when I went there, I got to spend a night at the very tomb, the Basilica of the Holy Sepulchre, which is where the tomb of Christ is at, where Jesus was buried, and 3 days later he rose. And normally if you go there, you go in, you walk into there for about like 40 seconds after having waited for 3 hours in a line, and then you got to go out because the next person's coming in. And it's tiny. You have to hunch down through this small doorway to get into where the slab of stone is where his body was laid. And we know with wonderful archaeological certainty, because of the Romans who wanted to destroy the holy sites, they decided, we'll build a temple over top of the tomb. Thank you very much for an archaeological marker that we can go back and verify, here's the tomb. So we know this is the place where Christ was buried, and this church is there. I'm there, and each night about 20 to 30 people are allowed to be locked in. And when I say locked in, I mean locked in. They pass a ladder through this door. There's an opening in the door. They bolt it from the outside. They pass the ladder through, the people on the outside take the ladder, and you're there. That's it. So the next morning, they open at 4:30, so it's not quite the whole night, depending on what time you wake up. But I'm in there. I go in, and I had an hour and a half to pray there, inside the tomb. And I can remember at that point in my life, I was carrying some really heavy burdens. And I can remember things in my family. There's a lot of difficulties that they've been through, especially surrounding the whole area of addiction and the impact that's had on people that I love dearly. And I remember going in there, and I remember just laying down on this cold slab. And it's like whatever time in the middle of the night, and I just pouring out all these intentions and all these people and praying for all these folks that I know and love. And I get through the whole list, and as I'm laying there on top of that slab, in my heart, I just heard the Lord just say, "Okay, I hear you. Will you be with me now?" And I just stayed there. Just stayed there for 40 minutes, just laying on that cold slab, and I could hear and feel my heart beating. And then I just heard the Lord saying, there was a cold, dead heart here beating. There was a heart that was not alive that came to life here. And in the emptiness of that tomb, in this absence of a body, was the fullest experience of this presence of God, brothers and sisters. And I knew then. And I know now that I can bear witness that the tomb is empty. That the God who you believe in, who I believe in, is one who has faced even the greatest of evils, death itself, and rose victoriously. This is our God. This is the God who is on this altar. This is the God who wants relationship with you. And the desires and dreams in your hearts are not too big, brothers and sisters. They're too small. You're hoping for too little. You're looking for too little in life. You have been called to the greatest dignity of living as a son, living as a daughter of God Almighty, of being loved by the heart that's at the foundation of reality. And when you stand in front of those real sufferings and those real moments of difficulty that are our life, and you say, I can't do anything, I'm out of control here in this situation. Our whole country and the world had the rug torn out from underneath them, and there you are standing in front of that. And if there is no one more, and if it's just us, then be afraid, be anxious, be hopeless. But if there is a heart burning at the center of reality, the heart of a loving Father that's holding us in His hands, even now, in the midst of this difficult moment, then brothers, have hope. Walk in a peace that the world can't give you. Experience the presence of a God whose love conquers all, heals all, delivers us from everything. Brothers and sisters, this is reality. And the world would love to see, right? We want peace, we want justice. But the thing is when we go looking for it ourselves, the best version of it we can come up with is violence, destruction, forcing others to come on board with what I think by some strength, whatever that is, whatever pressure it is. That's not the way that Jesus works. It's not the logic of love. Everybody knows that there's no such thing as a loving relationship when someone in it is being forced into it, which is why He continues to appeal to your freedom and my freedom. He continues to invite us, to call us by name, to come to us wherever we find ourselves at this moment in our lives. This heart is burning with love for you. This heart knows your heart. It knows your dreams. It knows your fears. It knows your sin. He's calling us. Brothers and sisters, He is calling us. And the way to respond is so simple that I think oftentimes we just kind of miss it. Because Jesus said it again and again in the Gospels, right? It's not terribly complicated. He said, ask and you will receive. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open. Brothers and sisters, your heart, even if you don't know it, is already screaming for him. The heart of these men that I met there in Ghent were not the only ones. You know, I've been blessed as a friar, as I said, to be in many places, and I served in Nicaragua for 2 years as a brother. And then I returned to the U.S. for my seminary, and now, God willing, in a month I'll be going back there to serve as a priest. And one of my joys was serving as a chaplain in a regional prison when I was there those years, back in 2012 and 13. And we were doing all this work trying to just evangelize and meet the material needs of these guys who are in very difficult situations. The darkest place that I've ever been. I've only been afraid as a friar one time, and it was inside that prison. In 12 years, there's only one place, and we basically, if you look on your top 10 worst neighborhoods in whatever city we're in one of the top 5, for sure. Like, we love being in those places because that's where the light of Christ just shines with a radiance like it doesn't anywhere else. And so I'm in there with these guys, and we're working with the young ones and trying to do a retreat. And I remember I'm standing outside trying to get in, and the guards are just not having it. Some of them were happy to have us. Others just didn't like the church, hated us, and would do anything to make our life miserable. And we happened to get one of those at the gate that day as we're coming in to start this weekend retreat with the guys. And he's sitting there, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know anything about this." I was like, "You sure?" He was like, "Yeah, nada me dijo nada." And I'm like, "Oh, really? Okay." And so why don't you call the comandante, have him come over here, and we'll talk with him, because I was in his office yesterday, you know. And he's like, so he went through the whole deal, made him come over. And so anyhow, he's opening up, and finally he's like giving the order, help them get their stuff inside, open the gate now. And he's taking the stuff out of the back of this car that we had it all in our truck. And as he's taking it out, he looks at me and he's like, "These kids," he's like, "ellos no quieren Dios." It's like they don't need God. They don't want God. Solo necesitan paja. They only need some weed. That's all they need. Just give them weed. They'll be okay. That's what they really want. And I was just sitting there hearing this, and I had spent like 2 hours just trying to get into the gate. And I was just like, I didn't say it to him, but interiorly, I'm like, "Get behind me, Satan." I was like, the Lord has a plan for these boys that we're going in here to be with. And we went in and we had this retreat, and it was voluntary. So like, guys are in there who could be out playing soccer or baseball with the guys in their free time out in the yard, and they're in this retreat. And one of the younger boys there at the end of the retreat comes up to me and he says, "You know what? Friday, after that talk, I decided I'm not gonna do weed anymore." And I didn't say anything about it. I didn't say anything about marijuana. I didn't say nothing about getting high. And he's like, "You know, in the last day and a half is the first time in 5 years that I have been sober." And he said, "You know what? I have this peace. I don't know. I've got this peace inside. You know, Fry, I don't know how to explain it, but I just feel peaceful, and I'm kind of happy." And I was just like, bro, it's like, Jesus, he's real. God is real. In the worst of circumstances, in the place where you would least expect it, God shows up. And here's this guy who has nothing, who's living in abject poverty, who's behind bars and could escape from it if he wanted because there's drugs in there, and chooses not to, and receives something greater. Receives the peace that only comes from the heart of Jesus. The world will offer you all kinds of counterfeits. It's going to give you every opportunity to find a quick and easy way out of suffering, of difficulty, of death. But there's only one who can stand in the face of all of those and say, "I am victorious." And if you are in me and I am in you, then the very power that has conquered all of these things, that has taken the worst evil on that cross and made it new, that power in you will make all things new. Brothers and sisters, this is the God, this is the heart of Jesus, the heart of the Father made flesh, and he's on the altar. I mean, just stop for a moment and realize that. His heart is here in the flesh, in the mystery of this sacrament. Because I think, first off, I'd just be weirded out if I saw a piece of flesh bleeding up there right now to begin with, and I might be totally freaked. If all of a sudden God showed up in his full glory, he comes so simply, humbly, and he's here because of his desire for relationship with you and I. And the love that is in that heart, if you've been baptized, has been poured into your heart. And the reality is you already belong to him. You already belong to the Father. That's your story. That's your identity. And the world around you is hungry to know the story. The only way you can be a witness is if you yourself have encountered the truth, the reality of God's love made flesh in the person of Jesus Christ. And the only thing between us and that is our unwillingness to be humble and say, I am a sinner in need of you, God. I am one who stands powerless in the face of death. I am one who does not have control of all of my life. I need you. I need you. That peace is waiting for us in his heart. And the joy is beautiful. John 16, Jesus makes this awesome promise. You know, it's like he knows we're not looking for anything less than everything. He says, you haven't asked anything yet in my name, and so you haven't received it. But if you ask anything, you're going to receive it so that your joy may be full. Your Father, the same Father that created this abundant diversity, the beauty of creation, the same Father who's been faithful throughout all of history, seeking relationship with us in spite of our brokenness, in spite of our sin, no matter how many times we've turned away. The same Father who sent his Son into this world to suffer and die just so that you could say, Abba. Just so that you could know that you are his, that you belong, that you have a good and loving Father who adores you and is desperately, desperately longing for a relationship with you. Just so you could know that, he allowed that same Son to suffer and die, and just so that you wouldn't forget it, so we would know that the words of Jesus were true, I will be with you always, even until the end of time. So you would know that's true. He continues to come. The Eucharist is here as a permanent pledge of the fidelity of the Father to each and every one of us, saying, I will not leave you orphans. Saying, no matter where you are, I'm going to come looking for you. I am the good shepherd who runs after the lost sheep. And he's running after you tonight. He's running after those who are here in this church and those who are watching. And the cry in your heart is only met here, in the even louder cry that's in the heart of Jesus Christ beating for you. And it's the cry that you are mine, that I know you, that I love you, that I will hold nothing back from you. The cry that's been in the heart of the Father, burning and still burning and will burn for eternity. This is the fire of love. It knows no limits. Brothers and sisters, we are in a difficult moment in the world, in our country, in the church. And to somehow step aside from that and deny it would be foolish. But to look at it alone would be absolutely insane. It's only when you stare the darkness right in the face while the very light of the world is within you that you can have hope. Hope that is a fruit of knowing that at the foundation of reality is a heart of love. And that that heart of love beats eternally for you and for me. We're going to continue in a time of prayer here before the Lord in the Eucharist. And I just invite you, just step into the story because it's already happening. Step into reality because he's already there. Look the darkness square in the face without fear because the light of the world is in our midst. Brothers and sisters, I invite you. He is here, calling, inviting. He loves you. He loves you. He loves you.
There's a heart that's waiting for you in the night. There's a heart that's burning for you in the night. There's a heart that's waiting for you in the night. There's a heart that's burning for you in the night. There's a heart that's waiting for you in the night. There's a heart that's burning for you in the night. There's a heart that's waiting for you in the night. There's a heart that's burning for you in the night. My child, I feel the cold of your loneliness and pain. My love for you has even brought me to the grave. But death couldn't hold me back. No, death couldn't hold me back. 'Cause there's a heart that's waiting for you in the night. There's a heart that's burning for you in the night. There's a heart that's waiting for you in the night. There's a heart that's burning for you in the night. My child, I see you sitting in the dark. You don't know I'm near, you think that I have gone. But open your eyes and see. Open your eyes and see that there's a heart that's waiting for you in the night. It's a heart that's burning for you in the night. It's a heart that's waiting for you in the night. It says a heart that's burning for you in the night. Father, it's your heart, the heart of your Son, Jesus, that is here on this altar. It's your heart, Father, made flesh, that's here on this altar. We come to this heart, Lord. Speak this word over our hearts. Wherever the night is within us, we beg you to speak this word over our hearts, Lord. Show us your holy presence, Lord. Show us. Let the light break into the darkness. May the shadows of doubt, of despair, of confusion be dispelled. May the slavery and the burden of sin be removed. May the affliction, Father, of illness, of sickness, Lord, be healed. Wherever, Lord, the night is in us, we beg you, Sacred Heart of Jesus, enter in. Let this be true for us tonight, Lord. This heart that waits for us, this heart that burns for us. It's a heart that's waiting for you in the night. There's a heart that's burning for you in the night. There's a heart that's waiting for you in the night. There's a heart that's burning for you in the night. My child, I feel the cold of your loneliness and pain. My love for you has even brought me to the grave. But death couldn't hold me back. No, death couldn't hold me back. Now there's a heart that's burning for you in the night. There's a heart that's burning for you in the night. There's a heart that's waiting for you in the night. There's a heart that's burning for you in the night. There's a heart that's waiting. There's a heart that's burning. There's a heart that's burning for you in the night. There's a heart that's burning. There's a heart that's waiting for you in the night. There's a heart that's burning. There's a heart that's burning for you in the night. There's a heart that's waiting for you in the night. There's a heart that's burning for you in the night. There's a heart that's waiting for you in the night. There's a heart that's burning for you in the night. You're not alone here in this 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 night, no. You're not alone here in this night. 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 The Good Shepherd has come to fight for you. You're not alone here in this night. The Good Shepherd has come to fight for you. You're not alone here in this night. The Good Shepherd has come to fight for you. Not alone here in this night. Oh, you're not alone here in this night. You're not alone here in this night. Oh, you're not alone here in this night. The Good Shepherd has come to fight for you. You're not alone here in this night. The Good Shepherd has come to fight for you. You're not alone here in this night. The Good Shepherd has come to fight for you. You're not alone here in this night. You're not alone here in this night. You're not alone here in this night. Oh, you're not alone here in this night. You're not alone here in this night. Oh, heaven and earth may pass away, but your word remains. Heaven and earth may pass away, but your word remains. Heaven and earth may pass away, but your word remains. Heaven and earth may pass away, but your word remains, oh God. Heaven and earth may pass away, but your word remains, oh God. Heaven and earth may pass away. Heaven and earth may pass away, but your word remains, oh God. Heaven and earth may pass away. Oh, you're a good and faithful Father, a good and faithful Father. You're a good and faithful Father to us, to us. Yes, you're a good and faithful Father. Oh, you're a good and faithful Father. Yes, you're a good and faithful Father to us, to us. Yes, you're a good and faithful Father. Oh, a good and faithful Father. Yes, you're a good and faithful Father to us, to us. Oh, to us. Oh, your heart burns, God. Your heart burns, God. Your heart burns, God, for your children. Your heart burns, oh God. Your heart it burns, oh God. Your heart it burns for your children. You're not alone here in this night. You're not alone here in this night.
You're so close to us.
You're not alone here in this night. The Good Shepherd has come to fight for you. You're not alone here in this night. No, no.
You're not alone here in this night.
The Good shepherd has come to fight for you.
You're not alone here in this night.
The good shepherd has come to fight for you.
You're not alone here in this night.
No, 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 no.
You're not alone here in this night.
Just have this image coming to me right now in prayer of like God looking through a microscope. And just like the Father wanting to say to someone here, like, you're not too small for my love. I see you. I see you. You are not too insignificant for my love. I see you. I see you. Your Father sees you. You're not too small. You're not too insignificant. He sees you. He knows you. He loves you. You are His beloved son. You are His beloved daughter. So this is what it feels like to stand before your loving eyes. So this is what it feels like to stand before your loving eyes. So this is what it feels like to stand before your loving eyes. So this is what it feels like to stand before your loving eyes, oh God. So this is what it feels like to stand before your loving eyes. So this is what it feels like to know that we are yours, oh God. So this is what it feels like to stand before your loving eyes. So this is what it feels like to know that we are yours and you are mine. So this is what it feels like to stand before your loving eyes. So this is what it feels like to know that we are yours and you are mine. Oh, you are mine. You are my good Father. You are my beloved. You are my Redeemer. You are mine. You are my beloved. You are my good Father. You are my Redeemer. You are mine. You are mine. You're not too small. You're not unknown. There's nothing about your heart that is insignificant to God. You're not too small. You're not unknown. There is nothing about your heart that is insignificant to God. So this is what it feels like to stand before your loving eyes. This is what it feels like to know that we are yours and you are mine. God, you are mine. Oh, you are mine. Yes, you are mine.
my heart, Lord. Speak what is true. Here's my heart. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. And speak what is true. Here's my heart. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Speak what is true. Speak what is true. Speak what is true. Please kneel.
Tantum ergo sacramentum veneremur cernui et antiquum documentum novum cerari tui praesed fides supplementum sensum defectui genitori genitoque laus et jubilatio salus honor virtus quoque sit et benedictio procedenti ab utroque compassi laudatio. Amen.
You have given them bread from heaven.
Having all sweetness within it,
Let us pray. O God, who in this wonderful sacrament left us a memorial of thy passion, grant, we implore thee, that we may so venerate the sacred mysteries of thy body and blood, as always to be conscious of the fruit of thy redemption, thou who livest and reignest forever and ever.
Amen.
The divine praises. Blessed be God. Blessed be his holy name. Blessed be Jesus Christ, true God and true man. Blessed be the name of Jesus. Blessed be his most sacred heart. Blessed be his most precious blood. Blessed be Jesus in the most holy sacrament of the altar. Blessed be the Holy Spirit, the Paraclete. Blessed be the great Mother of God, Mary most holy. Blessed be her holy and immaculate conception. Blessed be her glorious Assumption. Blessed be the name of Mary, Virgin and Mother. Blessed be Saint Joseph, her most chaste spouse. Blessed be God in his angels and in his saints. May the heart of Jesus, in the most blessed sacrament, be praised, adored, and loved with grateful affection at every moment in all the tabernacles of the world, even until the end of time. Amen.
Holy God, we praise thy name. Lord of all, we bow before thee. All on earth thy scepter claim. All in heaven above adore thee. Infinite thy vast domain, everlasting is thy reign. Infinite thy vast domain, everlasting is thy reign.
Brothers and sisters, thank you so much for being here this evening for this first night of the mission. We'll be back tomorrow and Wednesday, so just so you're aware, tomorrow night, just looking at the way that the mercy of God flows forth from the pierced heart of Jesus. And there'll be an opportunity for confessions. There'll be other priests available as well, but the evening will begin. We'll be trying to give formal endings just shortly before 9 o'clock. So if anybody has other things that they may need to tend to that start after 9, just so you know, kind of the schedule for each evening. And Wednesday night we'll be here and we'll have an opportunity to just dive into what does healing look like as it comes forth from the heart of Jesus in our lives, and the opportunity for an encounter with that healing here in the Eucharist, in the Eucharistic procession that we'll have that evening. So welcome you to come back. Thank you for being here this evening, and have a wonderful night. God bless you.